What is up, y'all? We just beat the Celtics, and pretty convincingly as well. We crushed them. To be honest, though, the first 3 minutes, we literally played like how we played last game. Like, it was pretty terrible. We were turning the ball over. We were not shooting well. Defense was just terrible. But that was the first 3 minutes. But I was very nervous. I was like, oh God, is this happening again? We're facing a Celtics team who just came out of a second 2 overtime game, so they must be tired. But their first point, the Celtics' first point, was Al Horford getting into the paint and dunking it because of bad transition defense from us. So that told me something. I was like, oh God, it's happening again. Al Horford is gonna dominate us. But alas, we won. Second quarter we played much better. Third quarter even better. Fourth quarter, you already know. It really looked like we picked up on our defense. Like, our defense was locked in, and it looked like the Raptors from before. Like, good defense. Something I missed, actually. Kudos to Gary Trent. When I said the first 3 minutes seemed similar to the last game, he played good defense, just like last game, and that carried on throughout the whole game. Now, Gary didn't play. He didn't come alive until like the third quarter, but he came alive, and he really came alive. So the first point is, we saw the two sides of Fred Van Vleet. Now, when I say two sides of Fred Van Vleet, I am talking about his. Now, I mentioned this before. His tunnel vision of going straight to the basket. Now, the first quarter, and I think the second quarter also, but either way, first half he drove in and attacked the basket and just shot it up. Just the classic. Toss it up into the air, circus shot, and those weren't falling. Now, I was worried. I was like, is he going to keep doing this for the rest of the game, just like last game? But he stopped. He kept driving in, of course. He drove in, but he always passed it out after like the third quarter. I think in the third quarter and fourth quarter, that's when he started to dish it out. Literally like 80% were pass outs, and there were some turnovers. He did bumble it up sometimes, but like, it was much better than him just tossing it up and just getting the turnover right there. And our guys were set to score from those, and it wasn't like he passed it out and it was an immediate three, but it led to us getting open shots, and that's all I could ask for. Gary Trent Jr.'s versatility. Now, Gary Trent, as I said before, when he started the game, he was not getting buckets. He was not shooting well. But what did he start? What did he adapt? What did he do to adapt? He drove in. Now he was doing floaters. He was laying it up. I believe like 2 possessions or 3 possessions in a row, he like just floated it up, and it was like literally the same shot, and it went in, like all 3 of them or something. And you could see that I think he realized it just wasn't his shooting night, so he adapted, and he knew he could score in other ways because he is just a scorer. He's a score type mentality guy. So he went into his bag of tricks and pulled out mid-range mid-range games, and just layups, and just the simple things. And the most important part is, he kept his defense. He was defensively great again, and this time it was even better because he wasn't in foul trouble. Before the last game, he was in foul trouble. He was aggressive in defense. He was still playing well, but he got called on fouls. This game, he did not. He played just as aggressive, but did not get called for those fouls, which is honestly great. If he could play like that all the time, holy Jesus, we need to pay him. We need to pay him if we have money. Now Barnes' IQ in general is great. Now, what I mean by that is that everyone knows his, his IQ in terms of passing and his open court vision. His vision is great, but today it really showed he knows where to be to get those points. He knows the passes. Like, this is the second game, and last game he did the exact same thing where it was open. It was in transition. He's going down the court. He looks one way and then throws it, no look pass to the open man, and that was his second. I feel like this is gonna be like every game. He's gonna do that every game, like at one point. Maybe it might be his only point of the game. He or assist. He will not look. Boom. That could be. I mean, that's point guard material. Scary. But yeah, Barnes had an incredible game. I mean, he had a double-double. He was rebounding with force. I remember one time it was like he was against like two guys and he just ripped the ball out. And I think Al Horford and Horford like stumbled back, grabbing his head. He's like, "Oh my God, 20 years younger than me." Well, I don't know how old he is. I don't know. Horford's like 500 years old. But anyway, no disrespect for, I like that guy. But yeah, Barnes played out of his mind. If he could play that all the time, like even just stat wise, geez, he's, as Beal said, he's gonna be trouble. Now, B.B.B, the triple B. I've decided to call the Boucher Birch Barricade, because when Birch and Boucher were on together, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's like a Montreal connection. I don't know, like Quebecois, je ne sais pas. I don't know. Like, they had a connection. Their defense was amazing. Like, no one could get past them in the paint. And like Chris Boucher is already a good 3-point defender, right? And Birch isn't too bad, but he's not the greatest. But still, that length, or somehow they just have a connection. Like, I remember Birch would just, his hands were always active, so he would always tipped it, deflected it, and Boucher was also doing the same thing. And they just played well together. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Nick Nurse is gonna use that more, but we'll have to see. But I really liked it. I like the B.B.B too, Boucher Birch Barricade. I wanted to find like a Montreal something, but couldn't find anything. Now the last point, unfortunately, is that OG is in a slump. He played pretty bad offensively, and by bad I mean like Patrick McCaw bad. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, defensively he was okay, but I don't know, he's just in a slump. I'm not worried, but like, no one should be worried, to be honest. It's the second game. And I don't think he's the type to lose confidence. He definitely still has the confidence, so I'm not worried at all. But it is what it is. He is in a slump, and he could bounce back by tomorrow. Honestly, he'll drop like 25 tomorrow. Who knows? I should bet on that. Now, the three usuals. Best performance, Scottie Barnes. There's no. I mean, you could argue that Gary Trent Jr. also had a great game, and he did. But Scottie, oh my, he dominated in the post. He was efficient with his shooting. I think that's one of the biggest things about Scottie that I like. He's very efficient. He won't take too many threes, but the ones he does take, he'll be like, he knows for sure he'll get it in. So like, I feel like his percentage will be high because he'll take smart shots. So like, a lot of the games he'll take like maybe 3 threes, only 3 shots, and maybe 2 of them will go in, and it's not bad. I'd rather have him be efficient than, I'd rather let him be efficient than not be efficient. Now, worst performance, as I said, OG did not play well. He's in a slump. I mean, what can you say? He's just in a slump. I mean, his shots were not falling. Like some of them were good looks. Some of them were not good looks. A lot of them were not good looks actually. And he I think most of his points were just like bully ball, where one time he just Tatum was flying out of the arena because OG just slightly bumped into him. But that's OG. Now the six man performance. There was no like clear cut winner. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be. Technically, Gary is not a. He was supposed to be bench today. For Dragic. Dragic was supposed to be starting, but for some reason they switched. But honestly, Trent deserves to start. Honestly, and I don't think Dragic minds that much. For sure, he doesn't mind that much. It's a boost in Trent's confidence as well, and if you give him confidence, he'll turn out like the third and fourth quarter, turning out points. But Khem Birch, you got to give him kudos. He didn't play the greatest, but he also didn't play bad, and that's all I can ask of him right now. Don't play terrible, just play mediocre or good, but mediocre is more realistic. And he had a lot of deflection. Defensively, he was great. He could have done more. Point-wise, didn't do much. Boards, he didn't do much. But he didn't get bullied as much as last game. Now, I don't know if it's because he was against like Al Horford or like Robert Williams, but he did decent. And I'm just happy we won, to be honest. I was kind of worried because we're against the Celtics, and I think the Celtics are quite good. But I think honestly that previous game where they went 2 overtimes, they were just very tired. So I think their defense kind of broke down. Jason Tatum was he was like under 20 points. He didn't play that well. We locked him up kind of. He got hot for a couple minutes, but he fizzled out. Jaylen Brown, I guess he was like extremely tired because he dropped like 40, 47, 40 something. He played an amazing game. That game was incredible, by the way. That if you didn't watch it, you should watch it. That it's a crazy game for a neutral. Well, I'm not a neutral. I hate the Celtics, but anyway, we won. Now it's time to party. Let's get it.